Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, I've had a few people ask me to do things like, simple setup guides for some of the distros that are, more recommended for beginners, like Linux Mint and Ubuntu Mate and other things like that. And so I'm going to slowly be working on some of those. And this is the first of those, and hopefully I can remember everything. Finally, once I start talking, the kitty wakes up and starts being cute, but oh well. So, how is everybody going? Albert, how's it going? Big Daddy Linux, how's it going there? JJ Game, how's it going? And Daniel, hello. And Noah and Carbon, how are you? Installing Pop OS right now on my PC. I haven't seen Pop OS. I'm set on GNOME desktop. Hey Joe. Hey, it's Sodal. However, all right. You'll see behind me, I'm running my my Manjaro now. So far, the only thing I can't get working on this so far is Skype. I've tried all three versions for Skype available, and nothing's working. So, other than that, though, it's actually very easy to use. I'm liking a lot. There's a lot of little subtle things in Manjaro Budgie that are pretty cool, and so. That's a pretty sweet system here, and so I'll be doing some a little bit more videos on it down the road here as the system gets moving on. So that's the desktop behind me now. That's Manjaro Budgie, the latest. So I'll talk more about that. Of course, I did the first video for that yesterday, and I'll be talking more about it this week. Hello, LJ. From Chicago, sitting in tonight. All right. Guess the big brother already knows that. Yeah, he already knows. Hey, Smeek, how's it going? I am doing very well. All right, so as I said, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a beginner's guide to Ubuntu Mate. So before we jump too much into what is Ubuntu Mate and why, we're just going to start doing some installation process. I haven't even installed this on the VirtualBox yet. Pretty much I just wanted to make sure that we could walk through it because it's going to take a few minutes to install. I'll use that time to talk about some other things. So of course, before you install a Linux distro, a few things I recommend. If you can, have USB drives laying around so you can burn them onto a USB drive and then use those to boot your computers. Now, what I also always do is, especially as I'm testing devices, you don't want to mess up your Windows system. I never recommend, or Mac, I guess you're using that. I never recommend a dual boot where two operating systems are sharing a hard drive, because updates can mess with each other's bootloaders, all sorts of other weird things can go on. Microsoft is doing all sorts of weird stuff on their operating system, so I don't trust it anyway. So with all of that being said, what I like to do, at least on my initial tests, is I run everything on USB drives. So these are USB 3. Make sure you only doing this on USB 3 drives. USB 2 are painful. Use USB 3 drives, and you can get these pretty cheap now. So I have a pile of these in. Actually, that's this operating system over here. That's what I run this off of. It's running on a USB 32 gigabyte drive. I also have a 64 gigabyte external, which I use with to run cubes. And so that's the way I always recommend that you do your installations, is onto USB drives while you're doing full testing. So these are literally good enough to test like that. And then if you get to that point where you're like, hey, I really want to do this operating system, then you can decide if you want to wipe your Windows. If you happen to have a tower, most cases, especially if you just picked up a tower somewhere from the store, most of those towers can hold multiple hard drives. Pop the guy open and throw in another disk. That's actually the native operating systems on this computer. I have one hard drive still runs Windows 8, and the other hard drive runs Linux Mint KDE. And so I have multiple different operating systems on this computer without USB drives, but none of the hard disks mess with each other. And that's kind of important as you're doing some tests. So don't try and load it alongside your Windows, especially since the Ubuntu installer will always have the option to install alongside. That can get you into some trouble, especially if you're new to Linux. If you're a old seasoned guy, you know what you're doing, hey, no problem, go for it. But that's kind of what we're going to do. So what I've done here is I've downloaded the ISO, and then I'm just going to go ahead and boot this into a virtual machine. And in the virtual machine, we are going to go ahead and install this. So that's actually the first thing I'm going to do, is install this guy into the virtual machine. And why Ubuntu Mate? Why do I like it? Well, I like it because it is, the Ubuntu system is a fairly stable, fairly mature platform. This has a more classic shell type environment, so something, a lot of people still appeal to this. I realize some people like the new modern stuff. If you want something modern, GNOME, Bungie, whatever. I mean, these are good systems, but I actually like some of the older ways. I'm just far more productive in that type of system. So while I don't do a whole lot of solid production on my Mate computers, what I do run on my Mate computers is all of my digital backups. I'm talking about minimalizing my life digitally. That's all done on this operating system. It's just a hard drive. Of course, my computer here has an icy dock. That means that I have on the front of my computer, I can just push a button and pull the hard drives out, and I can swap them around. Hello, people. Use Ubuntu Mate. It rocks. And Kitty endorses Ubuntu Mate as well. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and install it. And the first screen you're going to find on this is, do you want to download updates while installing it? I would recommend doing this. Of course, this requires an internet connection. This will make sure that, the thing loads up mostly up to date. Also, if you are planning on doing anything like watching Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of those types of things, maybe to some extent YouTube videos, things like that, or music things, you want to install the third-party codecs. If you're building this thing as like this hardened security system, don't install third-party information, like third-party codecs is what you're installing there. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and click the continue there, and then that'll give us another screen here in a moment. Usually it's a little bit quicker than this, but let's see. On the edited video, I'll cut some of the wait times out. It's taking a lot longer than it usually does. While I'm waiting on this guy to go, for you guys watching, then leave me anything in the comments that you want me to attempt to do here as we are doing this. I have some things I'm going to do as I think of them, but what I don't necessarily have is I'm not running on a full comprehensive list. Yeah, this is taking a long time. I'm gonna just jump over there. Oh, now it wants to go. I was just going to pull my comment bar out of there so I can read any comments coming down. All right, so here you can see here it's giving me the option to install alongside. This is the dangerous option. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just going to go ahead and erase my disk. This is, of course, a virtual machine. If you need to encrypt this, you can go ahead and click encrypt it here. Now, there's two ways of encrypting on Linux. One of those is encrypting the entire disk. One of those is encrypting just the home folder. If you want like security consciousness type stuff, you want to encrypt the whole disk. I'm not going to bother with any of that. And so I'm just going to hit the simple option, erase the disk, install Ubuntu Mate. And then we're just going to click the next button. And then here it's going to tell us that, things are going to be formatted, data is going to be lost, etc., etc. So we're going to go ahead and do that and let that go. Now, it should automatically detect your time zones. If it doesn't, just select your proper time zone. Push your next. It should automatically detect your keyboard layout, so just double check that. If you do need to do some testing, you can go ahead and use your button down here to test your keyboard. And then give it a name. So I'll go ahead and call this name, and we'll call this Ubuntu, which is not a very good password, but that's okay. Now, if you want to log in automatically, this means that you don't have to enter the password when you boot up the computer. You want to click over here. If you want to require the password to log in there, and again, as we talked about with encrypting your disk versus encrypting your home folder, if you do want to encrypt your home folder, check on the button right here. That will make sure that it provides a layer of security. It's just not as secure as encrypting the entire disk. So you can do that as well. I'm just going to go ahead and click the login automatically. In this case, you just decide which is best for your particular scenario. Now it's going to do some copying files, and while that's doing copying files, we're going to go ahead and have a look at their website over here. Oop, hold on a second. There we are. All right, so at their website, you can get a lot of just information. You can get Ubuntu Mate for computers, Raspberry Pis. The download screen is going to show you various options: a 64-bit, 32-bit, Raspberry Pi, PowerPC. So these are like your Apple computers and things like that. And so you can get your community over here. This is good for if you're having some questions. Now, of course, the good thing about using Ubuntu Mate is pretty much anything on Ubuntu forums is going to work out for you. So that's good. Of course, I'll point out the donate page. This is an independent project, a community-led project. So supporting them, either Patreon or single donations is always recommended for them, or suggested for them if you're using it a lot. That'd be a good thing. Of course, if you got Bitcoin, you can do that. And of course, there's a wiki page over here where you can get some help, tutorials, installation. So if there's something here in this video I'm not covering, go ahead and check this out over here and see if you can't find anything. And the shop over here. So here is, you can buy various computers, pre-running it, a variety of different things. Of course, these look like mostly European shops, so I'm not sure about the US options. I've never actually come over here to do that. All right, let's take a look, have a look at some comments here. Ooh, like Ubuntu Mate, real use of Linux, and I loved it. Yep. Hey, Technobismal, how's it going? All right. Version of Ubuntu Mate are you using? Did I miss it? Oh, I totally forgot to say. I went with the 1704 just because it's the current, essentially the current production system. I didn't go for the beta, but I did go with the more rolling with the 17 instead of using the LTS. So that's what I'm using there. Let's see. I have a couple towers that I use to try different Linux operating systems. Cool. I love GNOME. Don't mind others, but I prefer GNOME. So it's 16043. No, actually, my system here is a 16043 because I don't want to deal with rolling stuff. I want it to be long-term stable, and that's it. Daniel Turbs likes Budgie. All right. Okay. Probably choose for low computers is XFCE. Really love how it performs on low-end specs. Can you watch Voodoo on Ubuntu Mate? I've never tried, actually. Is that a website? Is there a website where if there's a website to look at that, to try that out, I'll test it out. I think I actually have an account from when I was buying discs and like DVDs in the past, that you have the ability to get the digital copy. Don't bother with any of that anymore, but I believe I think I might have an account. If I can remember the password for it. Solus, Budgie on my computer, love it. I want to help Solus grow and hopefully become a big distro. Yeah, what I like Solus did a really good job, especially when they added the snap packages. That was just a huge boast to what it could do. Hey, Fatal, how's it going there? 1604, 17. I'm using 17.04. That's what I'm using. Hey, Antec Designs, how's it going there? Haven't tried. Can you set it up like GNOME? What I'm liking about Budgie is it's GNOME with more functionality. That's it. You can do a little bit more. No, it is. Budgie is significantly heavier than Cinnamon. It's actually twice the system memory. I think it's something like, let me see if I can have a system resource monitor on here. My Budgie right now is running at 1.9 gigabytes. So it's a lot heavier than Cinnamon is. Tay is okay. I prefer Sparky. Linux is always watching. Slit says, all right. Voodoo sucks. Just back up your disks. Make MKV onto your hard disk. The problem, Striker, though, is that here in the United States, And Section 1204 of the Digital Money and Copyright Act makes it illegal for you to rip your DVDs onto your computer. Which is stupid. Believe you can, Noah, however, I've not tried. If it's an online system, at worst case scenario, Google Chrome probably can. I have not yet encountered any type of proprietary video platform that Chrome cannot use. I don't use any of them though, except I think I have like one video I bought through Amazon, Amazon's digital video stuff before Prime even existed. And if I want to watch something on Linux, I have to use Chrome. Hey Pedro, how's it going? Seriously need help. Can use PC because Risen isn't working out with Ubuntu. Yeah, I'm not sure if Risen will work with Linux at this point. I have no idea. Tom, you pronounced my last name Turbis. Turbis. Thanks. Sorry about that. What's my browser of choice? My browser of choice is Firefox, but I am keeping an eye on things closely. Because Mozilla seems to be smoking crack in the background. Last time I actually thought Ubuntu Mate was only 64, not 32. Voodoo.com. Alright, well, we'll give that a try. Alright, can't use X because it's not compatible with 144 Hz monitors. Currently, Wayland works great with high refresh rates, but X has issues when you set to 144. Huh. Alright, I'm going to move my comments over here, and let's see, we're still copying files back to the Ubuntu. This is why I thought about probably installing it prior to doing the video, but I thought I'd go ahead and install it on here just so I could actually show you some of the early things. But we want to walk through a lot of things, including installing printers and things like that. Let's see. Lightweight desktops. Look at Lumina. That project turning into fine wine. Okay. Speaking of smoking crack attack. Firefox has been infiltrated. Probably. They seem to be going goofy. Well, while we're waiting for this, let's see. I thought there was a couple fun news things we'll talk about here on Friday, but let's see if there's. I'm just gonna go ahead and check the newsy stuff. This will probably be edited out of the final. You guys get some stuff that's gonna be edited out of the final. But let's go ahead and see. There were some fascinating things. It's just I can't remember exactly what they were. Yeah, this was an interesting one here. Curious to know your thoughts on this one. Let me, hold on a second. Let me move around my website view here onto a different one. Tell me your thoughts on this article, folks. Google pulls calorie counting feature from Maps after backlash. Literally one person commented in a Twitter feed. They're sitting here going, but if you have an eating disorder, this could trigger you to eat cupcakes. Okay, I get it. In fact, if you follow my channel enough, you know that's the exact argument that I use why grocery stores in Pennsylvania went totally off the wall crazy starting to sell alcohol now. Because they're not isolating it in a separate location. It's right there in the store. And a person who's having issues with alcohol consumption will get some problems. And so pretty much Google rolls out this thing recently in a fairly small test about if you walk this distance here to here, it takes how much time, and it tells you the number of calories, and then tells you that the average person burns 56 calories by walking 1 kilometer, and that one mini cupcake is around 110 calories, and so if you walk 2 miles, you'll burn off 1 mini cupcake. And so now, literally, this is causing a backlash, and Google is like, how dare you tell me how many calories I burn by walking? Now, I'll tell you this from somebody in the know about this kind of stuff. Calorie counting is a useless measure. Calories is a useless measure. But why are people having this massive, you're telling me about how many calories I'm burning? but they're not caring anything at all about the fact that Google is storing all of this data about where you're walking, how far you're walking, how long it's taking the time, every bit of information about you, all of the websites you visit. Why is it that people are so focused on counting these calories and not worried about anything else? That's kind of goofy. We're still only part way through copying files. Usually, this is the thing about installing Linux distros. Many Linux distros I've run with actually only take 5 or 10 minutes to install on a VirtualBox. I don't know why Ubuntu Mate is taking forever. But anyway, walking directions, use caution. This walk burns 125 calories, which is more than 1 cupcake. What? And then your location. What are you guys thinking of this? What's up with this Google and their cupcakes? Is this something we should care about? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, let's see. Try Chromium, switch from Firefox. You know, I use Chromium for my YouTube stuff. I just don't use the same browser to keep keep Google a little bit on its toes. So I use Chromium for that, which is okay to me. I still prefer Firefox. I really don't like Chrome or Chromium. Any browser built on Chromium, I really don't like. I'm not sure exactly why. There's just something about the feel of them that's a little bit different. Of course, Firefox has been starting to duplicate more and more of what Chromium's doing lately, but oh well. Tom, can you alert me on the times you live stream? I'm confuzzled. Okay, Pseudo Linux. Wednesdays, unless there's something goofy going on in my schedule, Wednesdays is 7 o'clock, and I do an earlier one on Wednesdays because there's a lot of international people that if my 9 o'clock streams are very late for them. So Wednesdays I try and do a 7 o'clock. Which that way international folks that want to catch it, it's not quite as late. And that's actually why I do it. I also do a Friday, again, average 9 o'clock, unless something else goofy comes up, but usually 9 o'clock. And, well, I used to do a Sunday at 9 o'clock. My Sundays for this academic year are completely taken up, and so now I've switched that to a Saturday at 9 o'clock. So Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern, and Saturday, 9 o'clock Eastern. Those are my live shows. Okay, I came in at 2-hour mark and could only stay 15 minutes. Alright, let's see. I installed Numix icon theme on my phone. You know what? Is there a special way to install icons on Manjaro, or just the traditional drop them into the themes folder? I didn't see a way to install extra icons. I didn't really look, though, but I wanted to look at the Pyrus icon theme somebody had mentioned in my comments. I need to go back and look at it. 2-hour mark, can only stay about 15 minutes. Yep. Installed Numix icon theme on the phone. I hope XFCE switches to Wayland. X needs to die out soon. Well, you know, I have more problems on Wayland. I'm not ready for X to go anywhere anytime soon. I have had really no problems on X, but Wayland has always messed with my systems. You know, particularly as a video producer, X or Wayland is a nightmare for doing good video stuff. Doesn't like screen sharing, doesn't like, you know, multiple video streams, things like that. Anyone installed WPA update? I have not updated anything yet since the crack attack has come out, but realize that it's not as serious as the news media and everyone's saying it is. It's serious, patch it when you can, but it's not like, oh my God, this has to be updated, because somebody has to come within proximity of the device. Now, if it's a computer that you take out to coffee shops, update it very, very soon, because the coffee shops are good places for hackers to hang out. Come on. But as far as like your home devices, if anybody in my region here is intelligent enough to know how to hack my systems and infiltrate things, however, I think almost everything in this office is hardwired into my network anyway. So let's see, what do I have? My phones, I think, are wireless. One of my printers is wireless, and 3 of my computers are wireless. That's it. So I have not patched the crack attack yet, personally, and I'll get to it eventually, and I just haven't yet. Hey, Shatar, how's it going? Firefox can be compiled and modified, and that's why I'm never afraid of using it. Yep. Jeez. Yes, if you did come on late, we will get back to Mate as soon as it's done installing. I really wanted to show those startup screens, and usually a distro installs for about 5 minutes. For whatever reason, the thing's only taking forever. Oh well. My apologies to that. And I will have an edited version of this video out. I'm going to cut all this middle stuff out while we're waiting on the install. Using AMD GPUs, so no issue. NVIDIA still needs to work on Wayland compatibility. See, even on my AMD GPU, though, Wayland still isn't working. Google Pac-Man, learn how to escape the cops. What? Maybe new Ubuntu Artful will remove you from Linux Mint. No, probably not. Remember, I ran that beta. I couldn't get it off my system fast enough. The new Ubuntu. Oh, it was horrible, horrible. Not your first one to say. Yep. Thanks. Google. Really? What? Tay shouldn't be taking this long when you're doing a live broadcast. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, it's what's my processor at? Oh man, I keep on forgetting to hit the start record button. Actually, I haven't really done much. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the start record button now. Yay, that's gonna make. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that because that's gonna make it. I'm just gonna download it again. That's what I did last time. I just downloaded my own video from YouTube using one of the YouTube downloaders. Mate shouldn't take this long. Okay, I'm pretty sure Google cupcakes are toxic. Probably. Man of the world tech has been horrible. Yep, spyware OS and browsers. Now we got games with microtransactions. Yep. Google is suspect. I do love the Chromebook. Yep. Okay, I used to be a Chromium fan, but I like Firefox better now. Mostly omits the R from your last name. Been using SlimJet lately. Really good. Chrome OS equals cancer. Windows equals diabetes. What's Mac equal? Brain tumors? I guess that's cancer, though. Much rest. Have a good cup of tea or better. All right. Agree. SlimJet is fast. Linux equals diabetes and cancer cure. Jeez, it hasn't moved yet. Copying files. What are you doing? I'm wondering if the thing is frozen. Literally, it looks like it's frozen on me. Let me show you what I'm seeing here. This is what I'm getting. Look frozen to you? It looks like it has died. I'm getting no spinniness. We're going to kill it. We're going to kill it and come back. I think that the VirtualBox froze. That's crazy. Bummer. Maybe that's why it's taking so long. I think the VirtualBox froze. Jeez. Come on. This is another good reason why I'm going to be editing these videos and putting them up. Is just like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that breaks the flow from the regular content. And frankly, maybe I should have done an installation first, and then went ahead and did the installation, and then went ahead and just showed you the initial startup screen, canceled that one, and then worked with the one that was already built. Because this should not be taking this long. This should not be taking this long to install. It should be done in no more than 10 minutes. I've done this installation so many times, but we'll see. Hopefully we get it this time. All right, let's see if that works. All right. Linux equals Gondor, Windows equals Mordor. And Jara has most all icons and themes set to are the easiest way to install them through Pacman. Does work the traditional way. These work flawlessly with Wayland. NVIDIA users are the ones having a problem. I have not had that experience, actually. I've had issues with Wayland on my AMDs. Never had any X issues. Way back into the LAN, your fire giants and lags, and your cursor hates me. Why Mate? Well, the reason I'm doing Mate is just because it's a nice classic system. It's a user environment that is more familiar to many Windows users, and of course, those are the biggest people. Just based on the sheer numbers, most people looking to try out Linux are probably coming from a Windows environment. So maybe I'll do some based on GNOME as well, so we can get some people that might be more Mac friendly, things like that. Hey, look at this thing's like almost done. I mean, it's zooming through the copying process. Of course, it still needs to install, but it didn't freeze on the copying files this time. That's good. So our installation is about done. Okay, I've installed Mate 4 times last 3 weeks. Messed it up in the terminal. Oops. Love to see a hacker get through my dual G3 and G34 pfSense router. Are you a Christian? I'm one too. I am, Noah. If you didn't check out my Christian channel, Noah, you can check out my Christian channel. It's linked to the Linux one. It's Our Walk in Christ. You can check those out. Actually, I did, for you guys following along, I did another study today. I'm going through the study. We did one on the omniscience of God today. Enjoy mint cinnamon. Yes, mint cinnamon is my favorite. Woohoo! We're done copying files. Now we're on the installation phase. Tom, how long do I stream? Until I run out of stuff to talk about. This one, because the Ubuntu Mate crashed out the first time on the install, it's probably going to be a little bit longer. But hopefully I would like to wrap this up well before 9 o'clock, because I still have to run to the store today, cook dinner today, and get in another 3 or 4 more hours of work. By the way, folks, just a little public service announcement. Make sure if you run a website, you're backing things up. I got an urgent message this morning. Somebody's website was hacked. They're the people that rejected our backup and update plan for running WordPress websites, and they were hacked pretty ugly. Got them cleaned up. Still need to do a little bit, but make sure you're backing up and updating your websites. All right, we are most of the way. We are now configuring hardware. Noah, yes, what did you do? Check out FF extension. Okay, whatever. How can I encrypt my USB? Any software recommendation? What you would want to do is, what I use is actually just use the disks platform. I'll show you here when we get on there. What you do is use your disks and then go in, format the USB drive, and format it, particularly if you're Linux, a Linux type encrypted system, then use a Lux encrypted drive, and then that's going to, you enter your passkey in there, and then that's going to encrypt it with the Lux crypto lock for Linux. And that's a really good platform. Windows computers won't even see there's anything on the disk at all. I don't think Mac will either because it can't read the ext4 format. Linux computers, though, you can unlock it as long as Lux is set up on the computer. And so that's how you would do that. Let's see. What is new on Ubuntu 17.10? I have no idea. I have not looked at Ubuntu in a long time. Mac equals HPV. Ew. No, it can't be HPV. The usage rates of HPV are way higher than the usage rates of Mac. Oh, did I just go there? I did. Yeah, somewhere around the effect of like 25% of high school students end up leaving high school with HPV, so be careful. And clearly not that many people use Mac. Asperger's sometimes takes a while at jokes. My virtual machine with Ubuntu Mate froze during install too. Huh. Interesting. Oh. P window manager. It's quite nice for my father and grandfather. I wanted to install Linux on their computers. They both have 62-bit computers since they would be new to Linux. What distro do you guys recommend? Especially if they're coming from a Windows system, I would use Linux Mint Cinnamon. That would be my thoughts. Everyone just got home from a baseball game. Hey, sweet. I was actually playing Shut the Box and I won the game. Woohoo! Installation is complete. We're going to go ahead and reboot this machine. And then we'll go ahead and jump over here. Now, one thing that I'll say, the first time you're rebooting it, you want to press Enter here to have the thing reboot. One thing that I find on many Ubuntu distros is sometimes the reboot, especially on a VirtualBox, crashes. It looks like it did not this time. But hey, look at that. We are good to go. Find my scene. I have no idea why, but my camera just got crazy big there. Okay, there we are. Woohoo, my camera's back. I'm not sure what happened to my camera, but it's back. I'm going to go ahead and full screen this. All right, so when we first install this, I should be seeing more full screen than this. When we first install this, we have this nice system here that it'll kind of give you some guidebooks, features, a lot of things, including software. I'm just going to go ahead and close that for now. I'm going to see if I can increase the size of this. I thought that guest editions were installed automatically in this. Maybe I'm not. Well, I thought it was supposed to be. Maybe I do not have guest editions installed. If I don't have guest editions installed, we're not going to bother with that simply because, let me see if I can go up in size. Now, what we're going to do instead of that is we're going to run it like, give me a second. There we go. We'll go ahead and do that. All right, so now that we have our Ubuntu installed, your guest editions is not something you'd need to install unless you're doing it in a VirtualBox. So here is your Ubuntu, and some people really like this setup. It's not my personal favorite. We have a show desktop icon down here in the very bottom left panel there. In the very bottom right, we have a trash can. I love the fact that on most of my computers, I can throw the mouse to the bottom corner, click the mouse button, and show the desktop. So that's one of the first things I always do is I move this thing. What you can do if you kind of right-click and hit Properties to the panel, now you should be able to drag things around. I gotta remember exactly where I'm at on my panels. This is not something I did not jump in here and there we go. Unlock the panel. That's what I got to do. And then right-click and move. And then now I can just drag this guy where I want it to be. Now, some of them will be locked, so that's what's going on with this one here. This guy is locked to the panel, and the trash can is also locked to the panel. So I'm going to right-click this guy, move it again, and I'm going to throw that down there like that. And now I'm going to lock that back to the panel. And I'm going to just go ahead and lock everything else back down to the panel the way I like it. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't like on Ubuntu Mate is that the menu system is a little bit different than most people like. And so this is why. First, we have our basic information here, which is actually a very decent, respectable menu, but you'll notice that there is no search functionality on it. We also, though, have our places. Again, a good menu, but a lot of people just aren't used to this. And then anything for system administration is over here, which is good, and I like it. It's a little bit too different from people. And so if you want to have a more traditional menu, I'm going to come down here and hit the add. I'm going to basically right-click on the panel down here. I'm going to hit Add to Panel. And then now we have the ability to add a variety of different tools to the panel. And what we're going to do is there are a few different menus. I'm going to add the Mate menu, hit the Add button. And then what that's going to do is I'm going to now move it, and I'm just going to move it way over here. Let me move that out of my way. And I'm going to lock that to the panel, again with the right click. So now I have a very nice menu, which is a searchable menu, which has a lot more functionality that most people will probably want better than the menu systems up here. Now, to be sure, I actually keep these up here on my system. They don't get in my way in the slightest. I actually like them up there because if I am doing something system related, I can quickly find it over here. It's just not what a normal user is used to. And so I always recommend installing this menu first. So that is the first thing I like to do. But that being said, what I'm going to do next is we're going to go ahead and have a look at some devices. And again, just pardon me for a second as I look into just a couple of things. I'm just looking for what I have where. All right, so the disks is the tool I was just talking about. This is the program that you can use to format your drives. Of course, I don't have USB pass-through turned on. I don't have a drive handy that I can plug into it right this second. But if you come down here, you can come down, format a partition, and you can select from that partition an encrypted compatible Linux system. This is how you would encrypt a drive. So that's actually how I would do it if I were doing that on a regular basis. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at printers. So I have turned on both printers I have in my office. Now, some printer manufacturers work better than others with Linux. So, for example, I happen to have a Epson printer here, which is already plugged in and on the network. As far as the scanner is concerned, it should already see this. So I'm going to boot up Simple Scan and see if it identifies the scanner. Nope, it does not find the scanner yet. So let's just go ahead and set this guy up. We're going to hit the network printer. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to hit forward on the Epson printer. It's going to scan for drivers. Now, again, as I said, some printers work better, some printers don't. Sometimes you'll get some functionality with the basic kernel drivers. Sometimes you have to install proprietary stuff. I found on Linux Mint, I usually have to put up a fight with brother printers, but Epsons seem to work just fine. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and hit forward, and that should download things. Let's just go ahead and hit forward on the recommendations. That's not a dot matrix, though. I'm not going to print a test page because actually this printer doesn't work. It only is on my system as a scanner. Now, another complication I have is that I am running through a virtual machine. So if I can't identify this, the scanners don't work, I'm going to blame that before I'd blame anything else. I'm just going to see if it can find the scanner yet. It cannot, so I would have to fight with the scanner a little bit. Or, you know what? I'm just going to try something else here. I'm going to... You know what? I think it can actually, I find the scanner. I just think it can't. Oh, nope, there it goes. Yeah, I just had to go down to the menu. So it is actually scanning now. There's nothing nothing in the scanner, but it is scanning. So that's all I had to do to get the scanner working is just go into the preferences, just make sure that was selected, and now the scanner's working just fine. Oh, hold on. Let me try that again. I think I was actually scanning on the Linux on the host computer. That's the problem with not having the guest editions installed. Let me go back here. My apologies. Yeah, I goofed that one up. Yeah, okay, so it does not find the thing. Yeah, I goofed that one up pretty bad. All right, let's go ahead and have a look at the drivers here. I'm going to delete this printer, and let's go ahead and add that again and see if I'm going to be a little bit more cautious with it this time. And what is this thing? It's a Workforce 2650. Now this model scanner or printer and scanner does work pretty flawlessly. I don't even remember having to go through this this setup at all. What I'm going to do this time is instead of doing the generics, I'm going to go ahead and find the scanner if I can. Okay, Workforce 2650. Now, this is a very curious thing with scanners and printers and stuff. I have never in my life seen all of these numbers of scanners or printers anywhere in the history of the world, but every single printer I have ever bought anywhere never appears in any of these lists. Where are all these things? Like, and it's not just because it's Linux. It's Windows, it's it's Windows, it's Mac, it's everything. I have never in my life seen any scanner ever showed up in these lists. That doesn't seem right. Oop, go ahead and try that again. I'm not going to do a test page because, like I said, this guy is... Yeah, it still cannot seem to find the scanner. I'm going to blame it on the fact that we're running through a virtual machine. I generally have never had a problem with this particular printer. Now, the printer I will have problems with is a Brother printer. And I also have a Brother printer on the network. I'm going to give that one a try and see if this one will work or not. Sometimes your Brothers will work. Sometimes your Brother printers will not. And that is, for me, a very curious thing. Sometimes your Brother drivers will crash the system. So that's kind of the downside of that. But the process here, let's see, free software. Let's just go ahead and run with that. We're going to use Brother. Let me check the model on this one. Okay, this is an HL. L2380. It's an L2380. Yeah, once again, I mean, I have... Okay, once again, I have... it's an HLL2380. Once again, I've never seen any of these printers anywhere in the history of the universe. But in every printer I have ever purchased, I have never seen in these lists. 2380. We're just gonna go with, let's see if I can just use a generic. I'm gonna add that again. I'm just gonna add it as generic. That should work. Again, though, network printers inside of virtual boxes are generally a little bit more goofy. Let's try this. I'm just gonna try setting this up as a generic. I might cut this part of the video out because, frankly, it's sometimes I have to fight these things. All right, let's go ahead and check on some comments while that's searching. Watch a video on building a smartphone with a Raspberry Pi 3. Sat there and wonder level of autism took to see through that. All right. We have action on the printer. Let's see. Now the thing's sitting there blinking at me. I'll let you guys know if that thing actually prints the test page or not. I have no idea if it's going to. Like I said, I might cut the printing test page stuff out. It's just... VirtualBox is one issue I'm dealing with. The network printers is another issue, and the third issue is that I'm not actually going online. I might just have to submit a very specific... See, this one says not connected. Oh, well, we're just going to go ahead and cancel out the... we're going to go ahead and cancel out the printer stuff because I have to fight with the printers a little bit more. I probably need to do that on my native Ubuntu Mate system before we do any of that. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next stuff. Let's see. What else did I say I was going to talk about? Okay. Setting up, installing new applications. Let's look at some new applications next. So the basic system inside of this is the Software Boutique. This is your basic platform, which I actually do not care for this this application installer at all. There is a search function now. That was my biggest problem before. So it does work a lot better than it used to. But if I want to install the Chromium browser, I can just do a search for that. Go ahead and hit the install. Let's go ahead and apply the changes. So to come over there, hit the apply the changes. It should ask us for our password. And then let's go ahead and see. Well, it looks like I have to wait for that to finish before I get into there. All right, let's see. PC has USB Wi-Fi thing. I figured the problem would be my Wi-Fi died. All right. All right, Chromium is now installed. That's good. Let's go ahead and see if Chrome is in the repository. I do not believe it actually is. Yes, I'm finished. That's why I don't really care for the software boutique, because it's like I can really only do one thing at a time, and it's actually a little annoying. Okay, so Chrome, okay, Google Chrome is actually in here. I don't recommend installing Google Chrome, but hey, for those people that really got to keep something similar while you try out Linux, I'd rather you use Google Chrome than not try Linux at all. So there we're installing some software. So that's kind of how that works. Of course, the next thing you can do, and one of the challenges that I have here, I'm going to do a test with this newer version and see if they've solved the other issue. The reason I like the Ubuntu Software Center better is because it will, if you search on a basic functionality you're looking for, it gives you a lot of packages. But the Software Boutique is one that I've never actually found anything really I was looking for. So if I'm looking for, let's do health tracker. I have a time tracker is the only thing that shows up, because whatever you're searching for here only looks for the information up there. But let's go ahead and install the Software Center. And that's actually, I've installed that on my other system. Let's see if I can get it installed over here. I'm just going to search for, where is the software? Maybe they took it out. Yeah, I installed the Ubuntu Software Center on my system. And that's actually the one I prefer to use. You know what? I bet they probably did get rid of it, because this is now the official software package inside of Ubuntu, rather than the old Ubuntu Software Center, which is what I have installed on my my Mate system. So I'm guessing that that's why. So we're going to go ahead and install this. And you'll find that up there as well, probably in the same location. It used to be in the same location. Oh well, guess it's not now. Let's go ahead and do this. That gives you something else. Either they've cleaned their software repositories out, or this one doesn't work nearly as well as the old one did either. That was kind of the challenge that I had with this, is that it really doesn't allow you to search. So if you're looking for Office applications, you may not find all of the Office applications available, because with this platform, I find that you have to actually know what you're looking for. And I don't even know if OpenOffice is in the repository or not. It just like I never really got good results out of this. It looks like it's better now since the update. So it looks like Software Boutique is working better than it used to. So that's actually good. We got some software installed. We've even installed an extra software store. Let's talk about how you might adjust the theme around a little bit. I generally like right-clicking on the desktop, and then you can find your background images over here. And of course, the good thing about Mate is you don't actually have to hit apply on anything. You just click it and it'll automatically go, so you can have a quick look at it. I like that. Let's use that one there. So of course, right inside of here, you also have the ability to change your themes around. So you can adjust your themes very quickly, just as fast, in fact. I'm using this green submarine on my personal one, which is pretty cool. I kind of like this guy here. Let's run with this one for a little bit. And of course, you can change your fonts around, and some of your interface over here. All right, let's go ahead and have a look at some comments here. Oh boy. Great Linux distro that restrict. If you want to use a great Linux distro that will restrict you at every turn, use Red Star Linux. No, it's 75 different Linux distros to try on a virtual machine. That's a lot. That's dedication. I'm not sure I've hit 75 yet. Another 6 won't work on any Linux distro. Hey, Demiana, how's it going? Don't know what USB thing for Wi-Fi to buy. You know, I don't know. I have this one actually that came with my Raspberry Pi, which you can't see because I'm not on a camera you can actually see. There we are. That's the one I have. Of course, that came with my Raspberry Pi. Oh, it works okay. No complaints. Serge is most knowledgeable Linux person. Be specific with your issue, and there'll always be an answer. Yep. Absolutely. Not being a good advertiser for Red Star. Thinking of changing my handle to Twisted Penguin. Twisted. All right. I actually have an ice cream bucket full of USB drives of different distros. That's awesome. Oh, boy. Red Star is manufactured by the North Korean government. That's kind of scary. Chrome is keeping an eye on you. Yes, it is. That's why I do not recommend installing it. But I'd rather somebody install Linux and have to have that Chrome than not install Linux at all. Hello, Joe. How are you? All right. Ubuntu Mate 1604 had some pretty bad bugs. See, I don't have any real bugs on mine, and I'm running 1604. AUR packages are AUR packages work faster than Software Boutique. Yep. All right. Mozilla's turning into a bad company. Yes, I agree. Mozilla's getting weird. I don't know what's going on with them right now. Zorin plays well with her printer and scanner. Yeah, and it's like in each different distro behaves differently. Like, I brought home this Brother printer. I plugged it in. I didn't have to do anything. My Linux Mint computer runs it perfectly. This Epson printer I just tried to set up works perfectly on Ubuntu Mate, leading me to believe it's probably an issue of being inside the virtual box is causing me the problems. Now, I can't get the scanner on the Brother printer to work without the proprietary driver, so I'm going to try that again soon, but we'll see. In every new release of Ubuntu, there will always be terrible bugs until .1 or .2 releases. That's probably true. How do I make your name orange? Your name is orange when somebody hits @ and types in your name and clicks your name. It will appear orange only for you. It's to get your attention because somebody's talking directly to you in the comments. Seems to load pages faster. Maybe a placebo effect. Been using the Brave browser and I'm liking it a lot. All right, Firefox just keeps getting better. Really looking forward to Project Quantum. Be pulled into Firefox. Level 1 Text did a news show a couple weeks ago using the Project Quantum, and it didn't work well. I'm not sure it's fully released yet. They need to respond to Brian Lenduke and be honest about their future plans. I agree. Is Ubuntu Mate 1710? No, this is 1704. I hate Software Boutique. No, not my favorite. It seems to have gotten a whole lot better. I think Software Boutique is way better now than it was, but I still don't. I still like the old Ubuntu Software Center, which I couldn't get on this one, presumably because it's out of date now, or they're not shipping that with Ubuntu anymore. Do the Compiz effects work on Mate? Yes, they do. And if I can remember how to do that, I'll show you. I can't remember how to do that off the top of my head. I actually do run Compiz on my... I run Compiz on my other computer. So I know they work. They work just fine. I can't remember exactly how to get those set up. Yeah, once now that I'm used to Linux, I prefer the terminal better than any software installer. Tom, this should get the software center installed. Sudo apt-get software center. Let me give that a try. I have to type install though. Nope, no installation candidate. Like I said, I think I think since this is an Ubuntu 17.04, and Ubuntu is going with GNOME, I think that they pulled the old one and they've replaced it with the software center I have installed. Mate Tweak has the option. Yes, Mate Tweak does have the option. Let's jump back over there for a bit. All right, so I just loaded up Mate Tweak. It is already installed. I did not have to install this. So this will allow you to make some adjustments. So if you want to add your computer, your trash to your system, your networks, folders, mounted archives, you can do that. Here is your interface. So you can do text icons only. This is inside your toolbars. Let's see, here's your panel. So that's your type of panel that you want to use. That. Let's go back to what we had. Of course, they got rid of that one. Let's see. Looks like they did get rid of the customizations I put in. This is actually nice, though. Ooh, I like that one. That's kind of nice. They did get rid of the menu that I want, so I'll have to go back through and redo that menu. But actually, I like that one. Let's see if I can get my old one back. So take note of that. Adjusting your panels will undo any customizations you've had. I like, of all the native ones, though, I like this one the most. Or no, not that one. We had an internal error. Yeah, sure, let's go ahead and report that back to them. Which one was that I liked? Oh, that was it. The Redmond. I liked this one. Of course, I'd still want to replace this with the more advanced menu because I want the ability to do searches. But you can do that. And under your Windows here's your Windows Manager. So if you want to do Compiz, you can do that. This may not work well because I'm on a VirtualBox, but let's give it a try here. And then, see, I got rid of my main menu. Let's go down here. I'm going to add the panel. That way I can search for stuff. All right. I don't remember exactly how to do all the Compiz stuff off the top. It's something that's something I'm gonna have to. That's something I'm gonna have to work with later. Let's go ahead and just do that for now. Definitely not an ideal setup, but yeah, you can work with the Compiz. It's right in there in Mate Tweak, and I just completely forget how to make the adjustments to that. That's some of the stuff that I didn't plan on even talking about before. That cat eats for real. Kitty, they're talking about you. All right. Tweaking with NVIDIA or Xorg files might enable anti-tearing feature. Watch out for penguin stampedes. Yep. Thanks for the orange update. Yep. Like Synaptic. Yeah, Synaptic's nice. Synaptic's especially a really good one if you know what packages you want to install. That's a nice one. Compat does not work all that well on Mint Mate. I've not tried it on Mint Mate. Year of the Beast. Loving Linux RX 480 8 gig. I lose my icons with Mint Mate, but not in the menu. Huh. Try refreshing the screen or change your resolution and change it back. I notice when I unplug my second monitor, oftentimes it will not push the icons on a new one. So I have to actually just refresh the desktop, and that'll actually usually do it. You ever used a network scanner on Linux? Yes, I have. I forget the name of it. I have one installed on my other system. Hold on, let me find it. Let me boot this guy up, and then I'll be able to tell you what I use. It's one you actually have to download and install it individually. It's not something you can find in the system. Gall says Mate sucks. All right. Let's see what else I want to talk about here. Customizing the desktop. I think we did some desktop customizations. Let's just have a look at this is one of the things that I know there is a master settings panel in here somewhere. I can just never remember where it is. Okay, we've already looked at that screen. This is a challenge with Mate, and yes, for Gall Anonymous, yes, this is the thing that I think Mate sucks at. I know there is one master location for your settings. I just can never find the stupid thing. It's like they really need to make it easier to spot so I can see everything all at once. I know it exists. I mean, you can come down into your preferences and grab each individual thing separately. So grabbing your disks, your firewall configuration. Let's just go down into, I'm going to go down into the change desktops, fonts, interface. Okay, so here to customize more items inside the theme, select the theme you want and then push customize. And then in here you can adjust each individual, like your various controls. You can adjust your window borders. So if I like this theme, but I want to use, more traditional buttons, or like those buttons are pretty cool. I like those buttons. And then of course, if you want to adjust your icons, you can grab your various icons from different locations. And then of course, you can grab your pointers. Let's do a white glass pointer. All right, so there's how you can make adjustments to the rest of your desktop setting. So now we have a very nice, I really like this theme. I might have to use this theme on my other computer. That's kind of cool. All right. All right, James Miller. I'm using. It is called LinSSID. Is the system I'm using on my other computer. Let me. Get back to a full screen here. All right. So that's actually the one I'm using. It's really, I forgot even where I downloaded it, but it's called LinSSID. Is the system that I'm using for network scanning. All right, is there anything else we need to see on this Ubuntu Mate? We didn't get the printers working, but I don't know. Maybe I'll work with that a little bit more and see if I can't get that guy working there eventually. Let me check comments, see if anybody else is looking for anything else in there. Oh. Numix circle icons. All right. And the Costco pantry and fridge refill later. Oops. See you later, Striker. Best Buy open box options. That's usually where I get stuff. Range YouTube page. Okay. Need to install OpenGL on Windows 7 VM. Cannot find how to. Do you run Windows? Do I run Windows? I do some development in Windows. I use Linux for anything that's not work-related stuff. I use Windows for work-related stuff. I'm going to customize the option. Try the customize option at the bottom of the window. Which customize option at the bottom? Looking for Control Center. I am looking for Control Center. I just can't seem to find it. I'm going to go to Mate Tweak, and as much as I like this interface, I can't find everything I'm looking for. So I'm going to go back to how it was and just kind of deal with the system the way it was. There we are. All right, let me see. This is why the menu at the top is much better, because it kind of gets rid of the, oh, Control Center. Yes, that is what I'm looking for. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. You know, it was not showing up in the menu anywhere. I had to come back into my main system and hit the Control Center. This is the one I was looking for, yes. So this is where you can come in and you can do everything. Your software updater is over here. So this will check for software updates. Your welcome screen. This one here was the menu I was looking for. Yes, it exists. I knew I wasn't going crazy. I mean, I'm going crazy, but for other reasons. So here's firewall configurations, network configurations, Mate Tweak, Windows. Here's your notifications. Here's what a notification looks like, so I can adjust my notifications the way I like. Actually, I like the slider the best. I like that notification. That's a nice notification there. All right. Startup applications. If you need to adjust anything in your startup, you can go ahead and do this. There's a lot of things in startup by default, so you might want to look through that system, see if there's anything in there. Here's your main menu editor if you want to adjust anything that's on any of your menus. So this will allow you to adjust your applications menu and your system menu up here, so you can do any adjustments to your menus. Screensavers. All right, so yes, thanks. That's what I was looking for. I read your mind and I don't even know what I extracted from it, Joe. Modify your YouTube page settings. It looks good after that. All right. If you want top-notch performance from VMS, use VMware because you can actually game on it. Looks like it's on SourceForge. That's probably where I download it from. Windows sucks. I agree. You already did it right after I typed it. Oh, yeah, I was looking for things. I was doing some things before I jumped over for editing reasons. When I do the edits, I really quickly look for my comment screens and edit those out. So while I'm just hunting for stuff. What's that? Okay. Windows 10 is like watching... where'd that go? Windows 10 is like watching Sharknado, but Windows 98 and XP were awesome. Don't use it currently because I fell in love with Manjaro, but it's great. Yeah, Manjaro's... I'm enjoying Manjaro, actually. Mint Mate Control Center's specific Compiz config option. You know, I think you have to, if I'm remembering correctly, I think you have to install the Compiz configuration. I think that is actually the case. They said I am using Compiz on my other system, but I'm using Compiz on my other system, but I remember having to install some extra things with it in order to work, things like that. So I'm thinking that I would have to do that to get Compiz working. Why do you use Windows for work? Mostly because I have set up I've had that same work computer for 7 years, and no reason to switch over entirely to something else for now. When all the development that I have years of passwords, I have years of other stuff on it, and I'm porting things over to Linux. When I travel, I use a Linux-only stuff. If I am, in the other room, if I'm working from a remote office, if I want to work from a coffee shop, all that gets done on the Linux systems. But, I've had that Windows computer since 2010. No point in changing it at this point in time. On top of that, Dreamweaver does work better than most things I found on Linux for what I do. And so, no point in dumping a $1,000 software package that I already have in the office. Oh, I have another error. I'm getting a lot of bugs. Can you add something to the startup? Yes. Adding something to the startup screen. All right. No, I'm not going to install that. All right, adding something to the startup application. So if you want to, for example, this is something you might need to do if you want to install like a Cairo doc or whatever else. Just hit the add here. Now you have to know what your application is. And this is on Linux where it can get a little bit more difficult. But if, for example, I want to start up... No, I hit the wrong button. Let's go ahead and cancel. If I want to, for example, start up an instance of Firefox, I can do that. And then in theory, if I have done that right, then when I start the machine back up, then in theory, it should actually give me a... So I reset the Compiz, and it killed all of my menus. I don't have any menus. Let's hope when I reboot the computer, it actually turns on right. That was fun. Let's see what it does. So hopefully it does that. Let's see. All right. Rebooting the machine. Hey, that works. And there's our Firefox. So that worked. So basically all you have to do is go into the control center and hit the startup there, and that'll work. Okay. And so that's kind of how I did that. One thing I'm noticing though is, oh, I know why. Hold on. It pushed my push my window size bigger than it should have. There we are. My, hold on a second. My OBS is getting goofy on me. There we are. Now we're back. All right. So your startup then enabled me to just install any application, just drop it right into the startup, and then of course you see that it started up. Once it started up, it added a Firefox window because that's what I told it to start. So that's how you do that. All right. Still have Ubuntu Mate live USB just in case we need to help a beginner. All right, I like to have system to monitor at boot. All right, stream later. Vim VI is the old try Bluefish. Yeah, I use Bluefish on Linux, which Bluefish is 99.9% everything I want it to be. The one thing Bluefish is not working for web development on Linux is on Dreamweaver. I have a what you see, what you get on one side and code on the other, and two dueling panels, which for coding is annoying, and I'm always in code when I'm doing coding stuff. But if I'm doing website edits for people, I like going into the what you see, what you get, because I can just go right to the spot on the page I want to edit. It'll highlight it in code, drop over to the code panel, and make my edit. Way faster on that. All right, having a hard time making a path in Arch Linux for an old game. Help me with it. Be very happy. Not me. Have you ever thought about trying out True OS? It's something to keep an eye on. I'll add to my list of things to look at for sure. Is it an option to get rid of Windows for your work altogether long term, or are there things that will stop you? Oh no! As soon as this computer is dead, I'm done. I still do all my books on QuickBooks, which I can't get to work on Linux. GNU Cache is not nearly as good as QuickBooks is, so I might keep a offline Windows computer floating around just to do that type of stuff. Now, of course, I could also switch to the online version of QuickBooks, but do I want an offline Windows 10 computer to do offline local files of QuickBooks, or an online QuickBooks that I could run on Linux through a browser, but all of my company financial data is stored on somebody's servers? I think I'll take the offline Windows 10 computer. Actually, I have a friend of mine out west when I lived out there. As of 3 years ago, last time I talked to him, he still ran all of his books on Windows 95. Thing wasn't on an internet connection at all. And you know what? If you have a computer that's not on an internet connection, it doesn't need updates. All you need updates for is to prevent the hackers from getting in. But so that's the thing that's like, as far as development, no, it's going to be Linux all the way when this computer dies. But as far as like books and things like that, I might keep it on Windows 10 because I need to keep Windows computers around anyway for development testing. That's the only reason I have a Mac in my office. I hate Mac, but this stupid thing's on every day. So yeah, I mean, eventually when that computer's dead, I will not be buying another Windows computer for Windows work. No. Going to do a live video of Ubuntu 17.10, and what do you think of 17.10? I have done several videos on 17.10 already, and I hate it. I did a top 5 top warm and fuzzies, and I did a top 5. This is what I hate about it. Let me actually transition back over somewhere with comments so I know what to edit out of the video. I want to see someone run Windows 10 on a Pentium D. All right. Don't know why, but Mint, Mate, or Cinnamon, the boot time on SSD is almost a minute or more. You know, what I have found is my computer that is running Mint 18.2 actually takes about 3 to 4 minutes to start up. It's giving me flashbacks of Windows 95. But it used to be fast, and I think that's because it was an updated from 17.3. I think something in the update process going from 17.3 up to 18.2 really messed with the load times of the computer, and I have not been able to track down what the problem is with it. So I'm thinking about wiping the whole drive except the home folder on that thing's at least 300 gigabytes, so I don't really want to. I deal with how slow it is to start. I don't know. But when I've done 18.2 on, I mean, this computer here is running 18.2, natively installed into 18.2 on a traditional hard drive. It only takes 30 seconds to boot up. So I wonder if it has to do with where you're coming from. Experimenting with Windows 7 VM install. Try instead Puppy Linux and see how it rocks. Nice. The one and only time Windows 10 is preferable. Offline, yeah. I would not do online QuickBooks. Not as good from what I've been told, so I keep an offline Windows 7 PC just for books. Yep. Is there a VirtualBox config file where I can tweak settings in an editor? What are you trying to tweak? Don't rule out the VirtualBox. Don't rule out your VirtualBox main preferences setting. Where's my screen at here? Okay, in your main VirtualBox, don't rule out coming up here and check out Preferences, which has a lot of other configuration things, including network configuration things, extensions, and stuff like that. Don't rule out looking there for stuff. I think hardware issues for slow boots, 18.2, and it boots quickly. Yeah, I think that it has to do with, did you come from 17.3 and upgrade to 18.2? That seems to be what causes the slowness, and a lot of people have reported that. But if you just have installed 18.2, it's fast. Hate Systemd and Cities OpenRC. All right. Well, I think I've run out of things to do here. I'm going to take one more stab at the printers on this, though, and see if I can get printers working. I'm going to give it just another system and see if I can get printers working. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete that. All right, so I came into my control center. I'm going to try and add one of these printers again. And we're going to see if I can make these work, because I know the Brother printer should work just fine. And if this doesn't work, I'm blaming it on VirtualBox. Come on. See, that's there. I can't get that. I'm going to try this. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to attempt to install this from... We're going to go ahead and talk about how we might find the printer driver for this. Let's see. Brother printer. HLL. Hold on a second. 2380DW. 2380DW. That should be the model printer we have. Beautiful. That looks good. Downloads and drivers. Linux. Let's just grab the deb package. No, not wrong button. All right. Driver install tool, driver printer package, scanner drivers. Let's download that one. Yeah, I'll agree to the EULA. Yes, you own my life. Go ahead and push OK. All right. We're just going to save that file. I'm just going to go in and download a few different drivers. So we should be able to just open up the deb package here. So let me close this, Let's go and open up my downloads folder, see if everything's installed here. Oh, I thought I was installing a deb package for that one. Let me go back up into that. All right, well, anyway, here's they give us the instructions here, so I haven't done this for a while, so let's see. Okay, let's see. STG unzip. All right. HLL3. Oh, what was that? 2380. 2380 DW. Yes. No, I'm not reading anything, FYI. By the way, I don't live my regular life like that. I usually read everything. So basically, I'm just following the instructions on the panel here. Driver installation. Does not seem to like that, or the printer is not working well right now. Let me give me a second. Let me go touch the printer and see what it's doing. All right. See, it still says it's not connected there. I'm wondering if I should have gone with the... Oh, come on. Still telling me the thing's not connected. I'm wondering if I went with the wrong choice though. Here's what we're going to do is we're going to delete the printer. We're just going to try manually setting it up this time. Still telling me processing not connected. And the thing is that there's two different options I have. I have the option 11 and the option 12. One of them goes through the IP and one of them goes through a pass-through. I think I was supposed to have changed the IP, but I can't get back to that to change it. So if I want to come in here and change it, you'll see that the Epson printer is still giving me the IP option, but the Brother is no longer giving me the IP option. And so in this case, this is what I was talking about, where you usually have to fight with a Brother printer to get them working. So it just kind of depends. Like I know on my other systems, haven't had this challenge before. But even that, I mean, I tried to just, yeah, I know that. Delete the stupid thing and allow me to add it like I could add the other printers in the past. And this is the problem: is it's not giving me all of the options as it was before, and so that is probably part of the issue here. This is usually okay. I'm just gonna say never mind, and we're not gonna even bother. Let me try one more time, but it's. Not all printers hate Linux. It's just like with Linux, they're hit and miss. But honestly, Linux has been, printers are hit and miss with everything. Okay, Brother printer, forward. Yep, that's not going to work either. It's just going to give me the same mess. Processing not connected. Yep. Cancel that. Yeah, I'm going to have to fight with it. I'm going to blame the fact we're probably on VirtualBox or something else is goofy. I don't know. Yeah, this is the thing. Let's we're going to power this machine off. And I'm going to see if I have the same fight on this computer, which does not have the printer hooked up. So let's see if this gives me a fight. All right. If I can remember where printers are. There we are. How many times did I click that button? Jeez. All right. All right, so this is what I was looking for. This is the option that vanished on me, and that's the option that I needed. And I had picked the wrong option, but once I clicked that wrong option, it did not allow me to go back and reset the options. So let's see if this puts up a fight or not. Because I'm pretty sure I have set this up on all my other Linux computers without a fight at all. This is no research, no anything. I'm just trying to install it. Now, the scanner on this model, I know will put up a fight. Okay. Get XP machines easily. I'm thinking that this froze on me. I have had problems with Linux Mint freezing on installing Brother printer drivers. That is something to keep aware of. So let's try that again. Let's see if it can run this time without crashing. You still like Open Media Vault? Yes. Absolutely. Open Media Vault rocks. Print driver's lit. Yeah, I'm still fighting with the printer. Sudo Linux. I'm probably about to give up. Like, let me I'm 90% sure this other computer actually works with this printer without a problem. But see, it keeps on crashing when I'm trying to install this driver, which actually happens a lot more than you imagine on Linux Mint. Every time I've attempted to install Brother drivers specifically, it crashes. Let's see what this one does. printer you have is not compatible with Linux. I know it works. It does work with several of my other computers. The scanner does not without the proprietary drivers. Oh, you like the Numix theme? I have no idea. HP printers are still very flaky for me in the past. HP printers are awful by default. Yeah, HP printers suck. Alright, let me, if I'm not mistaken, this other Linux Mint computer set this printer up without any hassle at all. But it's like it keeps on crashing over here. Printers. Yep. This Linux Mint computer prints just fine. Let's see what drivers I'm using. Be good to know. PCL6. I'm going to try something in the Mate machine. There we are. Linux Mint test page. I still have that Firefox loading up. All right. System, Control Center, printers. Properties. Device UI. Enter. Oh, I'm not manually typing that in. That's a nightmare. Okay, let me apply, but we're going to... Can I change the connection? The problem is the settings are not correct, and I'm not having the option to get the settings right. And that's... I mean, I could probably manually type all these in, but that seems to be the problem here. Which very well, like I said, could be a virtual machine issue. Because this is not the setup that I have for this printer. Let me try this. I'm going to delete it. Try adding it. This will be the last try, then we're going to close this out. We're coming up on 9. See, it keeps on giving me no options. It keeps on going back and taking the configuration that it already has. So, like, and this is a challenge here on Linux, is if I delete the printer, it saves all of the options, and I'd have to go in and track down where all the settings are and clear everything out. That's what the problem is it was set up incorrectly wrong the first time. And if you do that on Linux, you really have to get in, find the cache, figure out where it's all being stored at, and then you have to clear all that stuff out in order to actually find it. And that's what my problem is, that even though I delete the printer, all of the configuration is saved. So when I try and add the same printer back on, it just dumps all the same information in there. So I don't have the ability to, I don't have the ability anymore to get on there and to basically start it again from scratch. Although if I went back into the terminal, let me try that. Let me test, see if the terminal will allow me to. No, I'm not going to go back on and research all that stuff again. I'm pretty sure if I re-ran it through the terminal, I might be able to override the settings. But I think that's the problem, is I chose the wrong number the first time, and I can't clear that number out without digging through the files and manually clearing everything out. I think that's what the problem is. All right, I think I've rambled on for way too long. I'll probably at some point in time get out a file of this, but yeah, whatever. What is cups? It can bite me. Real hardware, I don't care for it. Slow and buggy. Yeah, like I said, I haven't had a problem with this printer anywhere else. For whatever reason, it's just something goofy. I don't know. I'll have to try it again on the Linux Mint computer as well, and on this one here, and see if I can get it to work. Actually, what I might do, I might try it on the Manjaro computer and see if I can get it to work over there. All right, folks, I'm not going to bother reading the rest of the comments. It's dinner time. I probably wanted to wrap up like half an hour ago. We will go ahead and end with a cute cat eating some kitty treats. Watch how fast this guy wakes up. You ready? Hey, buddy. All right, well, I think that was mostly successful other than the printers. Well, folks, have yourself a wonderful evening, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.